Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. My name's Marian Draganov. It's
And
a
my name
pleasure
is
to have you
Allan.
here. My pleasure to have you on board with me, Allan. Together, we're the team of Agile Hub of T-Systems Siberia, and our talk is about product creation strategy, your roadmap to the future. Um, we strongly encourage you to use the QR code that you see on the screen. You can connect on menti.com and use the code 95091383 to address what are you hoping to get out of this session. And also, as usual, you can use the Q&A part of the chat. So please interact with us. Please let us know um, what do you think about a topic? What are your expectations? What are your challenges, right? Cool. We have some people already live, so Alan, I suggest let's speed up and deep dive. But before that, I would like to introduce you. Alan Torres is a teammate of mine that is a finished product and digital leader with extensive experience. I think Alan over 11 years of agile and product management practices with various certifications. I'm not going through all of them, but what I really value about you is your pragmatic approach and your experience in various situations. About me, Marian Draganov. Um, I am a DAS ambassador. I am certified in a few DASA products, as well as I've had the pleasure to practice product management, agile, DevOps, and lean practices throughout various companies. So I'm happy to share my experience with you today. Um, Alan, welcome again, and let us proceed. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go ahead. We have a few minutes, so I think it's
Yeah.
25:30. So
All
let's go
right.
ahead.
Cool. We have a question. Is this lecture recorded? Yes, it is. It is being recorded. So let us proceed. And the first point is imagine you're on an adventure, right? And you're um, not sure where you want to go, right? Maybe you'll find some cool spots. Maybe you'll find some traps. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you anywhere, right? We think here about Alice in Wonderland. We need a clear direction, right? We need a clear way where we want to go. Otherwise, we will deviate and definitely get lost. And there were some good times, and maybe you remember them when strategy was something static, right? It was easy to plan, it was stable, it would take years, it was straightforward to execute. Um, and this won't help you anymore, right? Unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends how adaptable you are. The world has changed, and we need to be dynamic. We need an adaptable plan that can pivot, that can make us more nimble and react to circumstances. And this is not an easy task. Um, and when we prepared this presentation, Alan told me, Marian, look, executing a strategy these days is as easy as trying to hit a flying rocket throwing rocks at it, right? And I said, Alan, let's put this in the presentations. I love that example. So it's challenging to stay agile, to stay nimble, to stay adaptive to the environment. And this is why companies react to these changing circumstances by creating new products. Almost half of the companies believe that their main source of revenue will be digital products, right? So almost half of it by 2027. So the product concept is something um, arising, something innovative, something that forward-thinking companies introduce, and this is why we chose this topic. It's product creation strategies for the future, how to be fit for the future. But then the key question here is, what is a product, right? It's a broad concept, and then very often it's used in a different contexts. So for the purpose of this presentation, we chose the definition of Philip Kotler. A product is anything that is offered in a market for attention, acquisition, or consumption, capable of satisfying a need or desire. Um, and from this broad concept, let's continue to break it down. So in today's talk, we would like to focus on three aspects. Products need to be desirable, viable, and feasible. This is the sweet spot, right? So desirable for the customer, viable for the business, and feasible in the side of technology. And having these concepts in mind, Allan, what do you think is next?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting concept, and everybody nowadays they start to create products, but at the end of the day, there is an interesting part on when you build a product. Is there's someone who's out there who wants to pay for that, and when you think about that, the company needs to think, where are we going to invest our money? Because there's a lot of opportunities out there, but where, as a company, I should invest? The next question would be a little bit more complicated. If you think about um, the reality is, are those products that we have are the right options for achieve our strategy? Even worse, how can I find my market fit? Because when you think about market fit, it's just about finding the right spot to be where you are going to be the one with a great, unique selling proposition. And this is where products are, this is why products are so difficult, so difficult to build, because the desirable, the feasible, and the business, they need to match. Because if no one needs what you're building, you can invest thousands of money and you're not going to give have your money back. And if you cannot build it, even worse, if the company says, "Oh, there is no meaning to invest in that." So those three aspects needs to be really clear. And those three questions that we have today, they need to be connected to the strategy of your company to create your product strategy. So let's go ahead for the next slide where we can see a little bit of what I'm saying. Every single company in the world has one thing, at least should have, right? Is what we call a mission. So what brings us to build a company? What make us unique? Where we want to go as a company and what change we want to bring to the world. So that is our mission. And it needs to be very clear because it needs to be really connected. When you connect that, you start to define your strategy or your company strategy. The company strategy is more or less where I want to be in the future, right? How can I make it become reality? How can I make it become feasible? How can I make it become desirable? So this is where the enterprise objects they raised, right? So when you connect the mission of your company with the company strategy, you start to establish your enterprise objectives. Then to make it more measurable, you need to have key results. Oh, Alan, you were talking about OKRs. Yes, I can say OKRs, you can say KPIs, you can say whatever you want, but the measurement of the progress of what you're achieving needs to be there. And this is where your company needs to have a product creation strategy, because the right products will help you to achieve those strategic objectives and the desirable key results you have. Otherwise, you're just going to be lost like Alice in the Wonder World. And that is what makes any single company different. When you start to create your products, you establish your product goals and your product roadmaps. Building your product roadmaps is where you're going to start to see your progress, you're going to start to see the results you're achieving. And more than that, is where you start to deliver a product itself. But to deliver a product, you need to have one more thing, which is what we call the product execution or product delivery, right? So if you go ahead, you will see one thing. The product execution is the main goal of every single company when we talk about the end of the line, because it's where you have the contact with your client. So in this scenario, you can see how complex this can be, right? The companies are so big, they have mission, they have strategy that cascade to create your products, roadmaps, and execution. So you can tie everything together and create strategy, tactical layer, and execution layer. But remember one thing, strategy can be defined by top-down decisions. And when you do that, you have a cascading, you need to cascade all the company mission and strategy. But also, at the end of the day, who are in the product? So the people who are there doing the product, they know their clients. By know their clients, there is another type of strategy that we need to take care, which is the bottom up strategy or emerging strategy, is where you can build a bottom up strategy together with your top down. So go ahead, Marian, and let's show the, the other way around. So if you see, products can be built from the top down decisions, but also they can be customized and create more fit for purpose or a better market fit when you start to create a bottom-up approach also. So I normally call that kind of a strategy, bottom up and top down at the same time. They are what I call a sandwich approach. So the sandwich approach is I know what I as a company what I need to do. I know what my client wants and what is feasible to be done, and I create the whole middle, right? Let me explain a bit on how can it be seen in a more landed point of view. So the next slide is example of how we can build that. We need to define if it's a market exploration or we are going to be going to a total diversification or if we're going to do a product development. So we need to understand what kind of a market we are going to introduce the new product. Are we going to create something new? Like for example, when you think about Apple in the past, they said, "Oh, everybody will want an iPad." They were creating a new market. They were creating a new product. So they started for a whole diversification. But at the end of the day, if you think about what they did, for example, on every single app that you have in iPad, it's a new product. So the market exists, but the app store or stores were a new product development. So if you think about a company, big like the systems or big like any other, in the next slide, you see that everything's connect from the mission statement. For example, we as a T systems or any single company, we want to be digitalized and enablers, where it can be the backbone to create a new future, right? So that connects with our strategy saying, hey, let's focus on providing the innovation, IT solutions, and transformation, whatever you want. So that's where your company want to go and be in the future, right? But how does connect with your product creation? Knowing that, you start to say, hey, we need to develop a bunch of digital products that are going to fulfill the industry needs, like focusing on automation, cloud, data analytics, or even cybersecurity, whatever. But that is how we connect. We need to know the mission. We need to know the company strategy to build our product creation strategy. And when you go to the next one, you see that everything will be connected by Creating your product roadmaps. For example, here we have a small roadmap for Q1 and Q2 where you can launch a AI product automation platform or even a cloud-based ERP systems to fulfill your needs as a product strategy and company strategy. When you go to the execution part is where you say, hey, this is what we are going to develop. This automation platform will be done by piloting, testing. We will select some clients on manufacturing or with their feedbacks to build the emerging strategy. We'll personalize what we are creating. So at the end of the day, if you go to the next slide, you see that by creating the platform you have, you will be able to create the digital transformation services across many industries that fulfill your mission and your strategy on the top by having some results like, hey, let's achieve a market share of 20% or have more client satisfaction. So at the end of the day, everything connects when you start to creating your product goals. So what I want to do, I want to have a very stable platform where our clients have 90% or 99% of a stability of uptime, and the feedbacks are going to be like every single 3 months, 6 months post launch my product. And the product delivery phase is where you can start to say, hey, let's test, let's start to deliver some trainings to people, let's start to support our clients, update the clients that we have this new product to use. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, if you go to the next slide, um, what we need to create is not anymore this life cycle. So everybody knows this life cycle as a thing like, hey, the game is like this. We want to introduce a new product and then we grow and achieve maturity. Then we have a saturation because we have competitors and everything, and then we decline. But at the end of the day, the game changed. And that's why your product strategy is so important. So let's see the next slide. I think it's the one of the most important messages that we have is the game changed. Now you're not playing a finite game. Your product don't need to die anymore. What we want is we want to have infinite products that are going to be there to fulfill not only market trends, but also solve a problem that my client has and be always on the top. But the problem is you can have a startup in the garage and say, hey, well, let's create this. So you don't know your competitors anymore because the market is really fluid and really adaptable. Everyone can build a startup today and have money from somewhere and try to take your share. So you don't know your competitors. You don't know the endpoint, where your product is going to end. That is the magic. There is no winner because the market share is big. And if you have 10% of all the client, of all cloud-based platforms that provides you development portal, it's enough to be rich. And as a company, it would be awesome. But there's the point. There is no rules anymore. The rules change so fast, and it's not easy to be always fulfilling your clients' expectations. So if you go to the next slide, you see one thing. Everything at the end of the day is to create your USP, meaning unique selling proposition. What makes you different? Your product strategy, your product creation strategy is exactly this. Make you differentiate you from your competition. Make your brand more valuable as a company. Make your clients more happy, more satisfied with your product, and make the run infinite. So this is where we can find our USP. So we need to know what we are doing well. We need we need to know what our customers wants, and we need to know what our competition doesn't do so well. And there, it's like Marian said in the beginning, the sweet spot. We need to find your USP sweet spot to design by designing your product strategy. Your product strategy. So at the end of the day, I think this is a very short way to say there is no way to create your product strategy without connect every single dot from the mission of your company to your delivery. Otherwise, it's just one more product in the market. Okay, so let's go ahead. I think right now we have a challenge and we want to know some interaction. So Marian, do you want to take this?
Yes, thank you, Alan. Thank you for these insights. So, to sum it up, we have talked about the importance of product creation strategy, what has changed in the recent years, leading to the fact that the product creation strategy should be an integral part of your company's layer of vision, mission, strategy, and also the linkage with delivery. We've seen the specific example from what we've implemented at T Systems, right? Scaling this from the vision and mission and objectives and key results to what worked for us in our product creation strategy. And then, Alan, we've had some very good insights from you on the product life cycle and the rules of the game or no rules of the game according to Infinite Games, and also the unique selling proposition, right? Um, so this is a keynote, and it's short on purpose. It's more of a teaser than a complete workshop, and this is why we strongly encourage you now to open up the Q&A sessions, and we ask you what are the challenges that you're currently facing. You can ask us via menti.com. I might have it here parallel on my second screen, and I'm also going to check the question section for any further questions. All right.
Okay.
We have some 10 minutes left, and that's I think a good time to answer some questions from the audience. Alan, this one might be good for you. How do we determine the most critical features to include in the MVP to ensure it effectively addresses our target users' primary pain points while allowing us to gather meaningful feedback for future iterations?
That's a great question because the main point here is you need to know your client, right? Because when you launch a product and you have an MVP, you need to define your MVP. You need to create a whole understanding on what kind of a pain you're going to resolve, right? And this is one of the most difficult things to be done. So you need to select some hypothesis. For example, if you have a problem, if you have a client that has their cloud platform generating a lot of billings and thousands of money, and they are not using that much. So, for example, you need to understand if they are using the in the wrong way, or the platform they're using are not set it up, or the setup is not good. So, at the end of the day, is going farther than just an opinion of your client. You need to go deeper and understand the root cause of their pain. Sometimes the clients can say, hey, I have a problem on my billing. Okay. But at the end of the day, it could be how the developers are using the platform, or if you are not, I don't know, decommissioning some areas or services that you are not using anymore, or just charging you. So at the end of the day, to create a whole strategy on your MVP approach, you need to go deep on the root cause of the pain of your client and make it, how can I say, you need to be hungry to understand your client's problem, because people easily fall in love from the solution that they create. But at the end of the day, you need to fall in love for the problem you're solving. Focus on the problem, not on the product. That will enable you to create an MVP that really can target the client. I
Thank you,
think we have
Alan.
more questions. I'm seeing some here.
We do. Um,
Uh,
we
can I
have to
take this one? Can I take this one?
please,
What will
which one?
change in the product the product
I was
development with
about to
the
ask you.
integration
We
that
have to answer that. That's the big new topic, Alan. We have to
yeah,
answer that.
yeah, that's wonderful. I have been testing the AI in the product development since some time, and I'm finding it just amazing, Dr. Owen, um, because it gives you another perspective that you are not able to see. So you can, for example, you can identify risks, you can identify other options that you're not seeing. It's so quick to create another perceptions of the same problem that is unbelievable. The insights that you can have when you are working with AI. I'm not only saying on the operational thing, I'm saying on the strategic things. For example, launch a whole entire go to market. For example, how can I personalize my messages for a specific persona? That is something that you can easily do by an AI process. So I can say, hey, my cloud platform can be done for developers, but also can be done by managers. But how can I sell it for C levels? So you can change and personalize your speech, your messages, even your selling pages and everything by using AI, and easily can have everything there managed by your AI. So you can easily use on marketing, or you can use to even design the prototypes that you want, because you already have some AIs that design prototypes. You can also have, for example, uh, the the boring part, creating user stories, creating epics, all those things. If you train your AI, they can be built right and also documented by an AI. It's amazing. It's going to be a revolutionary moment for product development for sure.
Thank you, Alan. And I think we're facing towards the end of our session. Um, we have some 3 to 4 minutes left, but of course that doesn't have to end until the very last second. Feel free to contact us. Feel free to check your specific challenges with us. Um, we're happy to bring insights from our experience, from our customers to you, um, in both product management and agile practices. And I'm really sorry about popping up here. I tried to stop it, but it's the risk of the live session, as always. Feel free to reach out to us via email, via LinkedIn, and also via the DAZA channels. This session is recorded. We're happy to share the materials with you, and happy to follow up on any other questions you might have. Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your attention. Enjoy the further session of DAZA Connect, and I'm happy to keep in touch with all of you interested in the same topics as we are.
I'm just want to say thank you, and I support everything that Marian said. Be free. Be please have a get in touch with us. I'm on LinkedIn. My email is there, so just ping me. And there is a question from our colleague Nirav, but I think we don't have more time, right? We don't. I think we are.
Running out of time. Happy to follow
Yeah,
up, Nirav, privately.
Nirav, please get in touch. I can talk to you. We can schedule a moment, and I will be happy to answer all your questions because I see that they are really interesting, especially when you talk about attracting investments and MVP and focusing on refining ideas. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy DAZA Connect. Stay tuned.
Bye.